All right, let's start with the mantra number 48, page number 155. And this is from Rig Veda.
Ashtavakra Gita.
No, not Ashtavakra Gita. First we got to read this Veda mantra.
Okay. Okay.
संसार में प्रत्येक प्राणी अग्नि से लाभ उठाता है और अग्नि से ही वह प्राणवान है। अग्नि के बिना सभी इंद्रियां निष्क्रिय हो सकती हैं। अग्नि हर क्षण मनुष्य के पास रहती है और मनुष्य उससे लाभान्वित होता है। उसी की सहायता से अनेकों कार्य करता है। संसार में हर एक को अग्नि की सहायता चाहिए। Right? Fire is, I mean, these days we are fortunate that there is a fire available all the time. Only few decades ago it was not. Okay, so pratyang vishwani bhuvananya स्यात्, अग्नि सारे संसार में सबके सामने रहता है। जठराग्नि के रूप में तन में रहती आग। See, gastric fire is called जठराग्नि। पचे न उस बिन अन्न भी जीवनदायी आग। हृदय की गति होते है ऊर्जा से ही मीत। ऊर्जा ना होए देह में अंत जीवन का चीत। ऊर्जा बिन ना काम करत दृष्टि जन की जान। प्रकाश बिना ना आंख कुछ जानत सकल जान। पांच देव सब पूज्य हैं शास्त्र करत बखान। भूल गया इस बात को गर्वित अब इंसान। पांचों से जन लाभ उठाएं जग जीवन सब सुखी बनाएं। दूषित होएं जब तत्व भाई फैलत रोगों की समुदाय। Okay? So that's why these are called devatas. So Agni Dev. So now we're going to start our study of Ashtavakra Gita, and we are starting chapter number 11 today. In this chapter, the Supreme, the Absolute, the God is indicated as Chidrupa, pure intelligence, pure consciousness. It is universal and all-inclusive. There is nothing other than it. And it is very serene and it's very tranquil. That's what we're going to be learning. There's no conflict is ever possible in the self. So whenever we see the conflict or whenever we see the agitations, they are not in the soul, in the self, in the absolute. It's always in the Prakriti, non-self, which is called. And another thing we'll see in this chapter, the Gita's doctrine of inaction. Rishi Ashtavakra has totally accepted this doctrine. And he really expounds it through this chapter. That's why this chapter is considered by some authors Gyan Ashtakam, hymn to pure knowledge. And Ashtakam, because there are 8 verses in this chapter. Asht means 8. And he says that true and enduring peace can be only in the state of selfhood. Because we are looking for the peace, we are looking for the truth, always looking outside, but it is in the self. In fact, this short chapter will give us the complete qualities of a man of realization. It explains the nature of the perfect man, and it also indicates the sadhana we seekers need to pursue. So we get awakened. So it's like a qualities which a man of perfection has, and the similar qualities we need to cultivate as seekers. So you can look at it, these are the 8 lessons for us to follow, so that we can feel that same peace, same tranquility in our heart. It's a beautiful chapter. I mean, they're all beautiful, but this one you'll see that he again and again keeps telling us, he uses the word nishchayi. Nishchay means, see which part of our personality which does the nishchay? The buddhi, the intellect. Okay, so he says with certainty, with a certitude. Do not waver again. See, sometimes we follow a path, but we waver from it. For sometimes we'll do the sadhana, then we say, no, it doesn't work. But if we really need to reach to that perfection, we got to have that kind of a nishchay, that kind of a certitude. So let's look at, and the whole chapter is again sung by the Guru, the Rishi Ashtavakra. What does he say? Verse number 1. Bhav abhav vikarah cha swabhavat iti nishchay nirvikarah gat kaleshah sukhen ev upashamyati. Bhav abhav vikar. Vikar is a change, a modification is called a vikar. So change in the form of existence and a destruction. So something exists, then it's destroyed. Bhav, abhav, vikara. Cha means and, swabhavat, from inherent nature. Iti means thus, nishchay, one who has understood with certainty. There's no more wavering now. Certainty, certitude. Nirvikara, unperturbed. See, vikar is a change, nirvikar, no change. Gat kaleshaha, free from pain. Gat means gone. Kalesh is the pain. So free from pains. Sukhen, easily. Ev means indeed. Upashamyati, finds peace. He who has understood with certitude that change in the form of existence and destruction is inherent in things, he becomes unperturbed and free from this pain and easily finds his peace. Pretty simple philosophy, right? We are all looking for peace. We don't like pain. We don't like disturbance. Except this philosophy, which is eternal philosophy. Eternal philosophy is what? Any form which comes into existence, ultimately there will be a change of it. So this is a very intelligent observation with the scientific detachment that can really crack this mystery for us, because otherwise constantly we are going through the disturbance. And mind and body, see, we all have the bodies, we have a mind. Mind and body will act only according to our intellectual understanding and conviction. So this is the intellectual understanding and conviction, what he's telling us in this verse. So in the intellect of a man of self-realization is that he sees the things just like we do. But he understands that these objects, these things, these forms, ultimately they will change. And we just get attached. People like us who have not reached there, we get attached to that certain form, and we just don't like the change of that form. We don't like that vikar in the form. Okay, so he makes us see things as the wise man does. That's what Rishi Ashtavakra is telling us. Through the study of the scriptures or through independent reflection upon the declaration of these great rishis, it's not just a mere information. This is the knowledge which we need to bring into our day-to-day life. Because we know the mere information gathering intellect cannot progress on this journey of spirituality. We must understand with a unshakable certitude. Underline this word nishchay. Okay? Unshakable certitude. So he who has understood with the certitude that existence and destruction are the inherent nature of the things. Because that's what this universe is made up of. He is the one who can immediately discover a great amount of tranquility in his heart. Because we all understand that no intelligent person will sit on the seashore and complain at the rising and the disappearing of the waves. If a person complains why there are waves, why they come and then go away, we'll say that you are either a child or a fool. No intelligent person. And no one will complain at the rising and the setting of the sun each day. Because all of us know that this is the inherent nature of the sun. So inherent nature of the ocean is the waves come and go. Inherent nature of the sun is it rises and it sets every day. Similarly, a student of philosophy understands with certitude that this universe, which is made of the forms, comes into existence and then it goes away. We are in the body right now. Body keeps on changing, and one day this body will not operate. Ours also, others also. And whether it's a body of a bug or a body of a plant or a body of a tree or a human body. So when this nature of things is realized, we cannot get ourselves any longer deeply attached to them. Because if we know for certainty that this is the nature of the body, it's going to change, then we don't get attached to it. And that's where the peace comes. Okay, let me read it again. He who has understood with certitude that change in the form of existence and destruction is inherent in things. It is their sabhav. It's their nature. He becomes unperturbed and free from this pain and easily finds his peace. Okay, it's a deep philosophy in here. Whether we write it down, one step, two steps, three steps, or whether we can just bring it up. I want peace, and I get peace because I get attached to the changing of the forms. And from today onward, I don't want to get attached to the forms because I don't want pain. Pain is opposite of the peace. Rishi Vashisht in the Yoga Vashisht also said something like this. Imam vichitraha kalna bhav abhavam atmikaha dukhaye ev tavograye na sukhaye kadche. These endless thought eruptions, their rising and disappearance are ever for your terrible sorrows and never, never for your happiness. Yes, it's constant churning of the mind gives us the sorrow. That's why we often talk about it, that we got to reduce the quantity of our thoughts. Because when there is a certitude, the thoughts automatically become less. Fewer the thoughts, less the agitation. Less the agitation, more the peace. And we are all looking for the peace. Number 2. Ishvara sarva nirmataha nahi anya iti nishchayi antargalit sarvashaha shantaha kva api na sajjate. Ishvara, God. Sarva nirmataha, sarva means all, nirmata means creator. So together sarva nirmata means creator of all. So everything is created by God. Na means not, ih means here, anya means other, iti means thus, nishchayi, with certitude. Antar galit sarvashaha, with all desires melted away. Shantaha, calm. Ko api, in anything whatsoever. Na sajjate, na means not, sajjate means attached. He who has understood with certitude that God is the creator of all, and there is none else here, becomes calm with all his inner desires melted away. He is no longer attached to anything whatsoever. Whatsoever means anything other than God then. Everything is created by God. I want to get attached to only the creator, not the creation. So the creator and the created, often we just struggle with it. Creator we cannot see, the created we see, and then we get attached to the created, and the nature of the created is it will change, and when it changes, we are in anxiety. That's the point he's trying to bring over here. He says the thought disturbances in the mind are the cause of our pain. And the student who has understood this with certitude, see, we understand it, but not with certitude. That's what we need to work on. So the student who has understood with the certitude becomes calm. So how do we know whether we have understood it with certitude? Is there more and more calmness or not? Because when the desires get melted away, calmness comes. That is the outcome of the let go of the desires, calmness. Because otherwise, you want something, you saw something, you want something, and that those thoughts are in your mind constantly. The minute you have that, you have a calmness, but pretty soon some other desire erupts. Then again there's a churning. So the calmness is always when there is no desires in our mind. So that's why he says, Antargalit Sarvasha, with all desires melted away. So it's not that we got to fulfill the desires. Don't even let the desires erupt with the help of this knowledge, certitude. Okay, so In these verses, we must not forget that we are given a chance to peep at the world through the intellect of a man of realization. Because we often think that, oh, I cannot reach there. But he is giving us a chance to look into the mind of a person who has reached there. So he says, this is what that man of perfection's mind and intellect are. And we need to work on it so that we reach there too. Okay, so do not get disturbed that, no, this is so much, how can I do it? There are saints who did it, they reached there. And he is telling us that you need to reach there too. Okay, so Antargalit Sarvasha, he who has understood with certitude that God is the creator of all, and there is none else here. There's no other power. It's not that a God and there's an equivalent of God, somebody else. No. According to this philosophy, there's only one God. Whether you call it a God, or whether you call it a Brahm, or whether you call it absolute, or the reality, or the truth, those are different words to explain, but it's only one. And there's none else. Becomes calm. So this kind of a person becomes calm with all his inner desires melted away. He is no longer attached to anything whatsoever. Then he says, Apada sampada kale davait iv iti nishchay triptaha swasth indriyo nityam na vanchati na shochati. Apada, misfortunes. Sampada, fortunes. Kale, in time. Dve, dvevat, through the effects of past action. Okay, like a Dev word is used in Gita also. Okay, it's like a effects of the past actions. It's called prarabdha also. Iv means a certainty. Iti means dasa, nishchay again, certitude. Triptaha, content. Swa, swastha indriyo, with all the senses well controlled. Nityam, ever. Na vanchati, no desires. Na shochati, no grieving. He who has understood with certitude that misfortune and fortune come in their own time through the effects of past actions. And this fortune, misfortune could be at the bodily level. It could be at the wealth-wise also. It could be in the relationship-wise also. So whatever we call it, fortune and misfortune, this is both of them in any areas of our life. This is the effect of our past actions. Becomes ever content and has all his senses well under control. And he neither desires nor grieves. So in other words, he goes through life with a purpose that I have that higher goal and I am working on it. There will be some good days, some not so good days according to my prarabdha. And I'll deal with it, I'll accept it calmly. Not blame anybody, not complain about it, but deal with it. So it's all a question of our understanding. Because we know that we have seen people, or we have done it sometimes, even in good fortune, good times, there are people who are in the habit of worrying. And there's a lot of anxiety in their mind. And then there are others who, even in the middle of calamities, are repeated misfortunes, they are peaceful. There's an inner peace born out of them, which is unbroken faith. And we often wonder, how do they deal with this? Because they understand it. So fortune and misfortune that happen today in our lives are the rewards and the punishments of our own past actions. We got to remember that. This should be our mantra, fortune and misfortune. Because nobody can say that I have all my life, I've been fortunate. There's some bad times also come. This body, no matter how well we take care of it, time comes. It's not feeling so well. And we'll call it a misfortune at the bodily level. So fortune and misfortune that happen today in our lives are the rewards and the punishments of our own past actions. So the cause of all that is our own actions. So that's why we don't have any control over our past actions. Right now, we are just getting the reward or the punishment. But right now, the actions we are doing, we got to do it with our eyes open. So when there is a understanding with certitude, we live in contentment. That is the word he's using over here, triptaha, contentment. We heroically face whenever the misfortune comes in our life. We no longer blame somebody else. There must be a reason. I don't know the reason, but I accept it. Okay. So, and in the fortune time also, we just don't gloat at that time. We just thank God. Good and bad both. So, and he desires nothing. That is another part of this verse. He desires nothing. He knows not to grieve over things that had perished. So desire is for what is not attained. So he doesn't want to go after the worldly desires. And grief is generally over what is lost. So na vanchati, na shochati. Both of these emotions he has fully under control. Okay, because both of these are happenings according to the rhythm set by our own actions in the past. So he has that knowledge with a certitude. And from there, he gets the undisturbed peace and unperturbed contentment. Okay. Yoga Vashisht again, I would like to quote. Rishi Vashisht says, let misfortune come or good fortune come. A true sage never leaves his divine peaceful nature. Just as the milky ocean, in spite of being churned by the mountain, still retains its white color. Okay, it's like a Kshir Sagar, still stays white, no matter how much it's being churned. Okay? And in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Shane Shane Upramet Buddhya Dhriti Grihitya Atam Sanstam Manakritva Nakinchitapi Chintayet. So this is the exercise advised by Lord Krishna to us. He says, Shane Shane, little by little, let him attain that peacefulness, that quietness. By the intellect held in firmness. See, this is that nischay. Intellect has to be firm. Keep on practicing slowly. Having made the mind established in the self, let him not think of anything else. And then Kathopanishad, we have studied that also. Yada sarve parmuchyante kama ye asye hridhi pita. Ath mrityo amrito bhavte yatra brahm sham ashnute. When all desires in the heart are emptied, then the mortal man gains immortality and therein apprehends Brahm. So we want to apprehend Brahm, or we want to attain peace, if you want to call that. So all these great rishis, they are saying exactly the same thing. The wants, the desires, they just keep on creating big waves in our mind. With certainty, let them go. Outside of us, there is a change, but that change does not need to have effect inside us. That is the sadhana. That he says, Sukha dukhe janam mrityu dvait ev iti nishchay sadhye darshihi nirayasaha kurvan api na lipyate. Sukh dukhe, in happiness and sorrow. Janam mrityu, birth and death. Dvat, due to effects of your past actions. Ev means certainly, iti means thus, nishchay. Again, the same word, right? Certitude. Sadhya darshihi, not seeing after the goals of life. Nirayasa, free from care. Kurvan, doing, api, even, na lipyate, not tainted. He who has understood with certitude that happiness and sorrow, birth and death are all due to the effects of past actions, does no more seek after the ordinary goals of life. Okay, so this is what this Sadhya Darshi is. Like ordinary goals of life. Sometimes these ordinary short-term goals, we just make them as our permanent goals. That's where the problem is. So he says, does not, no more seek after the ordinary goals of life. He becomes free from care. That doesn't mean he becomes careless. He becomes carefree. He is not attached even though engaged in actions. See, this is what I was talking about earlier. Actionless action. He does the actions, but as a yogi. So when the understanding has really dawned on that person, he looks at this sukh and dukh and janam and mrityu. They are just a part of life. Does not get disturbed. And there's no worldly goal for him. He goes through the life, sure, the goals are there, but they are not the ultimate goals for this kind of a person. Okay, so naturally he will become egoless. It's almost like an ego has died in this kind of a person. So he is not attached even though engaged in action. So action is being done, but he is not attached to the fruit. Whether fruit comes or doesn't come does not matter. So actionlessness in action, in Bhagavad Gita, it's we are all very much familiar with. Lord Krishna says, Yoga Yukto Vishuddhatma Vijitatma Jitendriya. We are all familiar with these terms. Sarava Bhutatma Bhutatma Kurvan Apina Lipyate. He who is devoted to the path of action, whose mind is quite pure, who has conquered the ego, who has subdued his senses, who realizes his self as the self in all beings, though acting is not tainted. So this is a definition of actionless action. That doesn't mean he doesn't act, but he is not attached to the fruits. Egocentric actions alone can leave their impressions on our personality. Egocentric actions. And that's where not only we get attached to the action, we get attached to the fruit of the action, and that's where the most of the anxieties and the worries come from too. So that's why this great Rishi is telling us, do action, do get involved in the action, but mind resting in Brahma and in a spirit of utter dedication. And dedication to what? Dedication to Brahma. So what happens then? More and more actions like that, our vasanas, our impressions, they just get purged. Because we all know that a person who's reveling in Brahma, actions are spontaneous expression of the divine in that person. He is acting, but there is a universal law behind that person's actions. That's why they say that this kind of a person, whatever they do, that becomes a dharma. Because this person, a yogi, is not doing action for himself. So this is what he's talking about over here. He says, he who has understood with certitude that happiness and sorrow, birth and death are all due to the effects of the past actions, does no more seek after the ordinary goals of life. He becomes free from care. He is not attached, even though engaged in actions. So this was verse number 4. So 4 more directives for us. Chinteha jayate dukham na anyatha ih iti nishchaya taya hi naha sukhi shantaha sarvatra galit sapriha. Chinteya, through anxiety, jayate, produced, dukham, sorrow, na is not anyatha, otherwise, ih means here, iti nishchaya, with certitude, taya hi naha, free from that, sukhi, happy, shant, peaceful, sarvatra, everywhere, galit, sapriha, with desires melted away. Okay, this term came before also, a couple of verses before. He who has understood with certitude that it is anxiety and nothing else that brings sorrow in the world, becomes free from it, and is happy and peaceful everywhere, with his desires melted away. And we all know that what is a sorrow? Sorrow itself is a mental condition of agitation. More the agitation, more the sorrow. Where agitation have ceased, that means it has gone away, melted away, mind has become calm. And what replaces happiness? So happiness and agitation. And some people these days I hear, they say, oh, it's no life if you don't get agitated. But rishis say the opposite. Anxiety is that which breeds the sorrows of life. We get, we create anxiety even for good things. So we got to remember that if we are students of this kind of a utmost philosophy, do not have the anxiety in your life. Because otherwise you are studying, reading, meditating, praying, but on the other hand, you are anxious about this life, then it's almost like they say, elephant, it takes a bath in the water and then again rolls into the mud. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we are, on one hand, we are doing which we are supposed to do and stay there, not roll into the mud again. That's what anxiety is. So a person who learns to leave all anxieties regarding the future, see, anxiety is always about the future. What will happen when I get old? What will happen after my retirement? What will happen if my kids don't take care of me, or my husband does not, or wife does not? I mean, there could be many anxieties. Or if my body just, a lot of people, they just worry about, no, I have heard that old age is very difficult. Anxiety. So let go of all those anxieties. And only then we can have an utter contentment. Okay? So extreme contentment. And it's all rooted in our own understanding. So we got to cultivate this kind of understanding. And that's the only way we can have peace. And with that peace, we will move upward. So all his desires melt away as he is no more hoping to discover a happiness through the gratification of any desire in himself. Normally, we have been conditioned that I'll be happy when my desires are fulfilled. Over here, this Rishi is clearly telling us you'll be happy when you don't have any desires. So with the certitude, we got to cultivate this. So anxieties can raise in the mind only when we allow our mind to go into that. And what is that? When we identify ourselves with the world of objects outside. And what happens when we identify ourselves with the worldly object outside? There's attachment to that object. An object we often talk about, it's not just a physical object. It could be a name or the fame or the relationship, anything. We think we cannot live without it. We want to attain it. If we cannot attain it, we feel angry. And if we attain it for some reason, we get attached to it. So he says, be aware of this. The desire, according to these rishis, actually, what I read in here is, it poisons our mind. We got to have that kind of, only then we'll have a certitude. That is a poison. We know that word poison because if somebody says that there's a poison in a glass of water, no matter how thirsty we are, we will not drink it. So whether Bhagavad Gita or this Ashtavakra Gita or other scriptures, that's what they are telling us. The desire poisons the mind and it starts bleeding with its endless sorrows. And again, I would like you to remember that we are, through these verses, having a free show sitting in the intellect of a perfect person. Okay? So it's a definition of that perfect person, and sooner or later we need to become that perfect person too. We are not right now. You might be, but I'm not. Okay? So, but this is the show we are having through this great rishis, that this is how a mind of a wise person is, or a man of perfection is. This is the view first-hand view we are getting. Okay.
Actually, could I ask a question?
Yes, Prem.
What would be the difference between desires and sometimes there's like a casual want? Oh, I'd like to have this, but I'm not so anxious. Oh, if I get it, that'll be really nice. If I don't get it, that's too bad. Is that okay?
No, it's not.
It's not?
If you want to reach there, then it's not. Because those casual wants also, they are like a crabgrass.
Okay.
Those roots, we think that we don't see them, but they keep on multiplying. So we got to be so vigilant. We're gonna just uproot all the desires. Okay? That's why the scriptures, other scriptures, they talk about samul nashaha. Samul means with the roots. We got to destroy it all. Okay, casual does not stay casual. Everything starts from casual.
And it can increase.
A person who wants to never saw parents drinking goes to college. The students say, just take a little sip. And before we know that that young man has developed the habit of drinking and could not even graduate.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so over here, this graduation is much higher and we got to be very alert. So no casual wants. Okay, and we have done enough of casual wantings. Okay, so na aham deha, na me deha, bodha aham iti nishay, kavalyam iv sampraptaha, na smarti akritam kritam, na aham, na means not aham I, deha body, na me deha, me means my, deha body. Okay, bodha, pure intelligence, aham I, nischay, with certitude, kavalyam, the state of aloneness. And this aloneness means only one, keval. If means as if, sampraptaha, attained. Na smarti. Smarti means remembers. Na means not. Or kritam, what is not done. Kritam, what is done. I am not the body, nor is the body mine. Very powerful statement. Because ordinarily people say, yeah, I'm not the body, but body is mine. Over here he's saying, I'm not the body, nor is the body mine. I am pure intelligence, bodha. He who has understood this with certitude does no longer remember what he has done or what he has not done. Or if he has attained the state of kavalya, the aloneness. Beautiful verse. When a person has mentally rejected the not self and has ascertained his own nature as the self, only then the sadhana has started. Because often we say, no, I am doing the sadhana, I'm doing the sadhana, but the real sadhana has started only now. So then what happens? He forgets to worry over what he has done or what he has not done. To worry over what has been done is the habit of a human mind. What has been done? I have done this, I have done that. I haven't done that yet. So when you are really on the path of this sadhana, this level of sadhana, you don't worry about it. That doesn't mean you don't do it, but you don't worry about it. Okay? People often regret about their past. In the past, I did that. And they're always anxious about the future. But over here, Rishi Ashtavakra is indicating by the term what has not yet been done. So no anxiety over the future and no regret over the past. What has been done and what has not been done. That's what he's telling us. Because it's a human mind's habit to worry over actions, both committed and omitted. Constantly our mind goes towards that. So he says, sadhak does not do that. Whatever is done, done. Move forward. Because sadhak is discovering within himself a peaceful state of utter contentment. See, contentment can be only when we are not worried about these things or we are not anxious about future. Only then there's a contentment. Otherwise, there's no contentment. If there's no contentment, there's no peace. If there's no peace, you really don't know yourself. Okay? So he learns to live the dynamic present. This is what's called living in the present. We often hear this term these days. Be mindful. We live in the present. This is living in the present. No anxiety about the future. Okay? And no going towards the worry about the past either. Okay? So as though this person has reached Kaivalya, the supreme state of absoluteness, he has attained that. He is there and that is it for him. Kathopanishad says something similar. When the 5 organs of knowledge are at rest, yada panchvat tishtante jnanani manasahasa. So when the 5 organs of knowledge are at rest, together with the mind, and when the intellect ceases functioning, that they call the highest state. So there is a calmness in the non-self. The idea of I and my are the expression of the ego, and when the deeper understanding dawns in a seeker that I am not the body. See, that's how this verse starts. Na aham deha, na me deha. So I and my is gone. I am not the body, nor is the body mine. The egocentric subject ends. And the ego awakens to the realization of its divine selfhood. And this is what we were a couple of chapters before from the Upanishad. The 2 terms, bondage and liberation, when we were studying those, are nothing but the problem of the mindness and the total rejection of this mindness. By the sense of mindness, the creature is bound, and it is liberated with the sense of mindness has ended. Okay, so liberation and bondage, if you remember, that's what we were talking about. So over here, na aham deha, na me deha, bodha aham iti nishchay. I am that bodh. See, remember I told you in the beginning that bodh word is used over here, not as intelligence. It's a pure consciousness. Okay. So na aham deha, na me deha, bodha aham iti nishchay, kaivalyam iv sampraptaha na smrti akritam kritam. What has been done, what not done, you don't even remember that. Because you have found something higher than that, which is yourself, and you know that's who you are. Okay? I think it's 11:27 right now. I wanted to finish this chapter, but I think let's just finish it next week because I want to give you some time to ask some questions if you have, I do the meditation also towards the end. Uh, uh, but remember that do not get disheartened that no, I have desires or I have a casual desires or I still worry about the future. We all do, but from these lessons, we know where we need to go. Whether we can go in this lifetime or whether we can inch up a little bit towards this is the ultimate truth, ultimate philosophy. This is where all of us will go. So whether slowly or fast, the progress is in our hands. So again, in this verse, in this chapter, Rishi Ashtavakra has given us a great opportunity to see into the inside of a perfect man. And we are studying this, we are doing all the sadhana because we want to become perfect. Otherwise, we wouldn't be studying something like this. Because there's so many other things to study or watch or do. So we want to move towards this. So we have been given the opportunity to see how it is with certainty. That's why I think he has been using this word nishchay. Nishchay. Yes. So let's go through some questions and then the little chanting, and then we'll end our class. But I'm sorry to finish it. Yes, Rajmita.
Hershji, what's difference between Bodh and Kaivalya?
Bodh and Kaivalya?
Yeah.
Yeah, both word is used just a consciousness. Both. Okay, consciousness. Kaivalya word is used when you have reached there. Kaivalya, you see only one. Okay. So it all depends where they are using the term. But Kaivalya, you remember in Yog Darshan also, the last chapter was Kaivalya Pad. Kaivalya. Only means only Atma. Okay.
So it means person who has achieved both. Kaivalya
Yes.
means person who has achieved both.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're kind of similar.
It's a similar, it depends where it's used, that's all. Okay? Yeah. Yes, Jyoti.
Manju, Malhotra?
Yes.
No, thank you. I'm fine.
Okay, you unmuted, that's fine.
Anybody else?
Not now.
Nothing? Okay.
Nope.
So basically what he's telling us, let go of your worries, anxieties, your desires, stay on the path. Move away from the non-self and move towards the self. Because we are not this temporary things. We are that light which is eternal, which is happiness, which is peaceful, which is contentment, which is part of God. Identify yourself with that. That's what he's telling us. Whether we can do it 10 minutes a day, half an hour a day, or 24/7. Choice is ours. How long we want to stay happy. 10 minutes a day, he says, okay, 10 minutes a day, do it. But if you want to feel happy constantly or more than 10 minutes a day, have this kind of a philosophy with a certainty. So whenever there's a fluctuation, then we don't have that certainty in us. Okay? So yes, Jyoti.
Urmil?
Yes,
Charles?
Urmil.
Thank you for this lecture, this lesson. What is the timeline? I mean, it takes forever. We practice, we don't practice all this. And we can tell our mind, okay, give up the desires. But when we get up and do other things after 11:30, 12, we do have desires, casual desires. We have to do things around the, our daily duties and all. So we do our so-called exercises, asanas, yoga, meditation. Those are the steps to eventually reach that level, and reading and meditating on it. But what is the timeline to ever reach there? Because people think I'm crazy. I'm still studying. I haven't reached anywhere. I mean, I haven't. Why am I going on reading? I should just sit at home and practice. But I keep listening to you.
Yeah, timeline is, there's no certain timeline. It depends what kind of a intensity we have in our practice. The more intensity, the sooner we'll reach there. And if you think, no, it's a dreadful, if it's not enjoyable, then sure, will just keep on slipping again and again. You got to just, with a utmost intensity. See, this is what that certitude word is, nishchay, right? Nishchay kar liya. This is it now, right? I'm not the body. And it's not that you are not eating, you are not doing your duties, but at the same time, recognizing that these are all temporary. Temporary we need to do because I do reside in this temporary body. I am not the body, I don't have the body, but I definitely do reside in this body. Just like I'm not the house, right? I'm not the house, but I do reside in the house and I need to take care of the house. The same way, just with that kind of a detached attitude, we should do the worldly duties. We need to pay the bills, we need to pay the taxes, we need to learn how to drive, we need to cook, but that is not the ultimate goal. Those are just a little to get by in this life. Ultimate goal is that supreme. So constant reminder of that should be in us. Okay? While doing the temporary, keeping an eye on the final. Okay? And whenever we reach, according to, it's all up to us actually. If somebody has an intensity that in this lifetime I want to reach there, nobody can stop them. They can. And that's what Rishi Patanjali talked about in the fourth chapter. The intensity, that kind of intensity is rare. Rare.
Thank you.
But if it's there, yes.
One more question. Nishi.
Yes, Nishi.
Namaste, Hersh.
Namaste, Nishi.
Beautiful lesson as usual. And although, there's always a but there. We agree with all of this. It sounds perfect. It sounds right. And as you're saying, we can only do, work towards it, inch towards it little by little. But, we do live in form. And without being attached, we can't really do our full caring jobs. And it's a difficult balance to really do without expectation, because you have a certain result in mind, a certain, result of your action. That's why you take the action. You have an expectation, you want to care. That's why you're doing your actions. Keeping in mind what you're saying will definitely help us, but it's undeniable that, we are living in this form and we have.
Yeah, but we got to remember we are living in this world temporarily. If you remember that, then these temporary actions don't become our permanent goals. Anything which is temporary, we know that. See, like a temporary paper plate versus little more expensive crystal plate. Something temporary, more temporary it is, the less attention we give it to. So studying these kind of scriptures bring this kind of a light into our life. Sure, it's temporary body, but I need to take care of it, because through this temporary body, I will reach that ultimate goal. Okay, actions, just like you said, actions we do, and we do it for the result. That is a very basic change we need to make. The motivation to do the action should be the duty, not the result. Definitely we want to do a good job. But the motivation should come that this is my duty. Okay? Not because it should be done this way or I should get this out of it. So do the best you can. Then you don't get attached.
So it sounds simple, but it's a big, big change, right?
Yeah, but it sounds simple. First, you got to have, that's why in this chapter, he just kept using the word Nishchay.
Nishchay.
Nishchay. That is a key word throughout these 8 verses. This has to become like a certainty for us. Only then we can, because we have not made this a certitude for us. That's why we do it, then we don't do it. It's almost like we go forward and then backward, and essentially we are there. We got to keep on moving forward or upward, if you want to say that. Okay, with certainty. These are the principles. That's why I bring the other scriptures in there, because all the scriptures say the same thing. Nobody says that don't take care of the body. Definitely take care of the body, but it's a temporary. It's a temporary housing we have acquired. And we have had many, many houses before. So just like in the outside homes also, haven't we lived in many, many houses before? When we came to this country, one house, then the second one, then the third one. We have never gotten attached to the old one. Old one we haven't even forgotten. The same thing, this is just a housing. Okay? And the duties are also the same way. How do we know that what kind of duties we had in the last lives? Were we a warrior, or a farmer, or a man, or a woman, or a bird, or an animal? We don't know what we were. So the same thing over here, the things which are so important to us, in next life we'll forget. But the goal will stay the same. So we got to keep that in mind. Okay? So do the actions because you are supposed to do the duty. That's all. Only then we'll move forward. Okay? We can have more questions, more dialogue after this, but let's just see the little chanting. Do the chanting. Manny?
Shriman Narayan Hari Hari Shriman Narayan Hari Hari Shriman Narayan Hari Hari Shriman Narayan Hari Hari तेरी लीला सबसे न्यारी न्यारी हरी हरी 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 भजमन नारायण नारायण हरि हरि भजमन नारायण नारायण हरि हरि जय जय नारायण नारायण हरि हरि जय जय नारायण नारायण हरि हरि श्रीमन नारायण नारायण हरि हरि श्रीमन नारायण नारायण हरि ओम नमो नारायण ओम नमो नारायण हरि ओम नमो नारायण हरि ओम नमो लक्ष्मी नारायण नारायण हरि हरि लक्ष्मी नारायण नारायण हरि हरि बोलो नारायण नारायण हरि हरि बोलो नारायण नारायण हरि हरि भजो नारायण नारायण हरि हरि भजो नारायण नारायण हरि हरि जय जय नारायण नारायण
Thank you very much.